So yesterday we discussed about forward kinematics. There are four parameters which are important. These are the four. So given a link I'll redraw once again for you all. Let us say this is your link. Okay. So it has one frame which is sitting here, another frame which is here, and this extends to a new link that comes after this, and this sits over a link which is here. Okay. So this became your Zi minus 1 and this became your Zi. These two are axis of motion. In case of revolute axis, these are the rotation axes. Okay, about which this second link with rotates with respect to link I. So link I rotates with respect to axis Zi minus 1. Okay, and then you have link has a frame which sits at the end of link I, and that is given by Zi. On Zi becomes the axis of rotation for link I plus 1. Okay. So every link ends with a frame named as the link itself. If the link is I, it is Zi. Okay. So what is Xi? Xi is the common perpendicular that joins link axis Zi minus 1 and Zi and perpendicular to both of them. So that is Xi, and Yi is set as a right-handed coordinate system. You have seen that. So these are the four things. So you have Xi, distance between two Zi is Ai, Zi is Ai. Okay, that means the link length. Okay, it is measured along Xi, that is 1. Distance between two Xis, distance between two Xis is Di, that is the link offset. Zi minus 1 and Zi, distance between them is Ai, that is link length. Xi minus 1 and Xi, that is Di, that is the offset. Okay, and link length, link offset, you have link frames which are there. What is next is a rotation, that is twist of a link. Twist of a link is twisted. So these are the two Z axes, they themselves are twisted about X axis, okay, by an angle that is given by alpha I. This is known as twist. Okay, so twist of a link, offset of a link, length of a link, and angle between two consecutive links. Okay, I minus 1 and link I is given by theta I. Okay, so these are the four parameters which represents, which is known as DH parameters. Okay, so now that you have gone through earlier videos, so you know this forms one by one four consecutive transformations. These are the four as we have discussed. So theta I, rotation about this, di, that is translation. Okay, and then you have translation about this, and finally rotation about this. This forms four consecutive transformations, and this gives you a link transformation matrix. Okay, a link transformation matrix takes you from one frame to the other frame, start of a link to ending of a link. Okay, this is first transformation. So if you put them all together, concatenating them, that means if you have a robot which is attached to the ground, this is your link 1, frame 1 is here. So this transformation is A1 with respect to 0. Next will be your link 2. So there is a transformation which takes you from this to this. So you have frame 2 which is placed at the end of link 1, So there will be a transformation that takes you from here to here, denoted as 2 with respect to 1, and so on and so forth. It will take you to the final frame, that is the end effector. So what you have to do, you have to take this frame from here, from here, from here, and finally you reach to the end effector. Got it? So this is what is your forward kinematic transformation, that gives you position and orientation of the end effector. Okay, so where is this? Okay, so if this is your transformation matrix, what are the components which are there? This gives you the end effector position, and this gives you the orientation. You know, this is projection of local UVW frame, end effector frame with respect to x-axis. You know how it is derived. This is the projection of final end effector frame y-axis, v-axis to the y. This is u-axis to x. This is w-axis, that is link w-axis, z-axis to z frame. Okay, so these are the three projections. I'll show you directly also. And what is this? This basically gives you the pose, that is the position of your link endpoint. Okay, so this is your position, px, py, and pz. These are the three projection of UVW frame over XYZ frame respectively. Okay, so this represents the orientation. This 3 cross 3 represents the orientation matrix, whereas this represents your end effector position matrix. So we'll see how it works. So ultimately you are going to get a homogeneous transformation matrix like this, and it has two parts: orientation of that end effector frame, the last frame, and the position of the last frame. We'll see by demonstration also. So let us begin. Let us start with today's content, that is a robot system. A robot system, how will you place different frames and how will you reach till the end, how to place frames and how to identify the DH parameters, how kinematic structure is drawn. So kinematic structure starts with two types of thing. First is a revolute joint, second one is a prismatic joint. Kinematically, I'll prefer representing all the revolute joints like this. Okay, whereas this cylinder has an axis given by Zi, and your link rotates by an angle theta I. Everything will be denoted symbolically like this. So this is nothing but a symbol for a joint. Joint as such, physically it looks complex, consists of motor, actuator, gearbox, and many things. So instead of physically representing it, I will just represent it using a cylinder and links as a straight line. Okay, links will be just a straight line, no solid, no frame, no nothing. Okay, just a straight line that connects two different joints. Prismatic joints will be represented like this. At times it is also represented by a small piece like this, but I won't be doing that. Okay, so this I'll just exclude. So this is my prismatic joint. Axis of displacement will be given by Zi. Di is variable. In this case, theta I is variable. In this case, prismatic Di is variable. This is the offset, that is the displacement measured along Zi axis. This is rotation measured along theta I, that is about Zi axis. So these are the two basic symbol that I'll use. Okay, that I'll use. Okay, so starting with my first example, I'll do these steps. Need not to mug up. You can come back to this slide anytime you feel like. Okay, so I'll just skip this. So these are the 11 steps that will be used to assign different DH frames and to write down a table that consists of DH parameter of each and every link. Okay, so okay, we'll do by example. Let us start with example 1. What is this? This is just a two link manipulator. Two link manipulator. Now it is not a robot, it is just a manipulator which can move, given two joint. Okay, first joint is this one. Okay, this joint. Okay, second joint is this one. Okay, so it has two joints and it has two links. First link length is A1, second link length is A2. Okay, how do I know this is link length? I'll just place the DH parameters, DH frames now. So as I have said, when you start drawing, your robot sits at the base frame, where which is denoted by origin. It has its own axis x0 and y0. Okay, so my first rotation joint will have z0 axis, x cross y should give me z axis. Okay, this is right-handed coordinate system. Okay, so I have placed my z0 like this. Got it? So I'll just wipe it out for little more clarity. Okay, okay, so here goes my first link. First link rotates about z0 axis. Okay, so this is my link 1. This is my link 1. This rotates about this by an angle theta 1. Link 1 rotates by an angle theta 1 about 0. 1 rotates about 0, and this is the frame 1 that is sitting at the end of link 1. I don't know where it X, where is Y, where is Z. I'll just leave it like this. Okay. But for link 1, I know it rotates about this axis, So this is my Z0. Okay. Z because it is axis of rotation. Okay. Now coming to next, there is another link. That is following this, and this rotates with respect to link 1 by an angle theta 2. So this becomes your Z1. This is frame attached to link 1 is Z1. Link 2, this rotates about Z1 by an angle theta 2. Okay, so this is your Z2. A common normal that connects Z0 and Z1 is your common normal is this. So this is your X1. Okay, so this is your X1. So X cross Y should give you Z. Okay, so this is your Y1. This is your Y1. So XY1, X1 cross Y1 is Z1. So this is how I have placed this frame. First frame is X, Y, Z0. Second frame is X1, Y1, Z1. Clear? So three axes are placed, that is fitted at the end of link 1. Now coming to next frame, this should, as because there is no uh, link which is rotating with respect to link 2, so I'll conveniently place exactly the same. I'll just translate, there is no rotation. I'll just place this as this. So this is your X2. I'll just displace it. This is your Y2, and I'll have Z3 like over here like this. Okay, so this is my end effector. Okay, this is my end effector. So this is how three frames are placed. So X2 is nothing but common normal between Z1 and Z1 and Z2. Okay, this is 2. This is not 3. So this is 2. So it is a common normal between Z1 and Z2. Okay, so final frame is 2, degree of freedom 2, angle of rotation 2. It is 2 degrees of freedom robot. It starts with 0. 0 is fixed to the ground. Okay, this is fixed to the ground. This is not rotating. So now I have placed all the frames. Now I'll try to write them in a tabular manner. Okay, so distance between z1 and z2, distance between z1 and z2 is link length 2. Distance between z0 and z1 is your link length 1. There is no offset. This is a planar robot, so there is no displacement along z. So all the offsets will be 0. Only link lengths will exist. Okay, distance between z's. Okay, so link length is there. There is no twisting of any link. All z are projected perpendicular to the plane. They are directed perpendicular to this xy plane. Okay, not projected. So they are all perpendicular to this plane and they are parallel. So there is no twist between z axis. So link is all flat. It is a planar robot. Okay, so now placing all the dh parameter table. Okay, let me see how it goes. Okay, so this is what I have just discussed in text. Z0 and Z1 are axis of rotation of joint 1 and 2. All axes are parallel. Choose xi to intersect OI minus 1. Okay, that is the ground frame. And then next frame, yi is normal to right hand, normal to form a right handed coordinate system, RH coordinate system. I'll write RH from now on. Okay, the links are planar, there is no twist, so alpha i's are all 0. This becomes your table. Distance between zi's are link lengths. First link length is ai, second link length is a1, and next is a2. Okay, all alpha i's are 0. There is no link offset, correct? Because this is planar, there is no displacement along z axis, so di's are 0. Joint angles are theta 1 and theta 2. So this table is known as DH parameter table or simply DH table. Okay. Using this, I'll try to form the forward kinematic transformation matrices for each and every link. Okay. This is your, I am just recalling the transformation of a link. As I have said, if this is frame I minus 1 on which link I is attached, and this is your frame I. Okay, this is your frame I. So this transformation matrix gives you transformation that takes this to this location. Okay, using all these. So I'll just substitute the values which are here for link 1. So there will be two transformation. First will be link 1 with respect to 0, that is the base frame. So this is the link 1 for which AI is A1. This is the link length. Alpha I will be 0, Ti will be 0, theta I will be theta 1. I will substitute this value to this equation. Okay. And what I'll get A0, 1. Similarly, I'll use the second parameter in the table, second list of parameter in the table, d theta a alpha, 4 parameters, dh parameters of link 2, and what I'll get 2 with respect to 1. So these are the two. This is the first one. I have just substituted the value which is here to this. Sorry, this should all be, because these are scalar, it should not be bold. Okay, it will be meaning, it should not be bold. Yes, quite good. So I should have placed it here as well. So these are all scalar values. These are magnitude of the distance. They are not vectors. Okay, I'll just place it. You can, yes. So this is there. So I have just placed those values. This is A1, this is A1. Okay, that value will go here. There is no D, so this is 0. There is no twist, so this remained as it is. 1 remains here, zeros are here. And this is what? This is just rotation matrix. So as expected, cos minus sine, sine cos. So what this is? This is just a rotation matrix. It is quite obvious just by looking at this. You see x1, y1 frame has rotated by an angle theta 1 about x0 and y0. Is it not? So it is simply rotation about z axis. This is z0. Okay, so it is simply rotation about z axis. So that is what is reflected here. It is rotation about z axis by angle theta 1. Okay, rotation about z axis by an angle theta 1. Got it? Yes, that will be 0. You see here, this is a planar robot. This is a planar robot. So first axis xy is in a plane, x0 y0 is in a plane. Z, which is protruding out at these locations, both the Z0 and Z1 are parallel to each other. Both are protruding out of this plane, is it not? So that is the reason. So perpendicular to x1 and y1 is Z1, that is perpendicular to this plane of this board, and similarly x0 y0 z0 is also perpendicular. So you see there is no twist angle between z0 and z1, so alpha 1 is 0. That is what is written here. Similarly, when we'll use x2 and y2, x1 y1, x2 y2 both are in a plane, so perpendicular to both the frames, that is Z2 which is here and Z1 which is here, Z2 and Z1 is also parallel to each other. So there is no twist. This link is a flat link. There is no twist. This link is not twisted by any angle about x-axis, about this x-axis, right? So there is no twist. So this angles are 0, and that is the reason when you substitute alpha is equal to 0, so that is the reason when you put alpha is equal to 0 over here, okay? So you will put alpha is equal to 0 here, here, right? So what you will get? Cos 0 degree is 1, sin 0 degree is 0, and by substituting that you can immediately get this, okay? So that is what is expected, and you see this gives you the position of frame 1. Just compare it whether it is actually giving it or not. Just go back to your link, or I'll just draw it here once again. If you see, this is your link, this is your frame 1 with x1 and y1 sitting like this. This has rotated about x0 and y0 frame by an angle theta 1. This length is a1. So this point location will be a1 cos theta 1, is it not? And y coordinate will be a1 sin theta 1. Got it? So it will be a1 cos theta 1. This is a1 sin theta 1. So this is your x1 and y1 location. Okay, this frame location with respect to the ground frame. So that is what is represented here. A0 cos theta 1, sorry, a1 cos theta 1 and a1 sin theta 1. Z is 0 because this is a planar system. There is no z. Okay, so it gives you the end effector position after link 1. After link 1. Okay. So you see, this gives you the orientation. This gives you the orientation. That means it is rotated by z-axis by an angle theta 1, as can be seen from this figure. And this point, this point that is fitted at the end of link 1 is at a distance given by this. Okay. Okay, this coordinates are here. Okay, so this matrix gave you nothing. It gave you the position and orientation of frame 1 with respect to frame 0. Okay, going to next. This is your what? Frame 2 with respect to 1. So you see, it should be exactly similar. It should be exactly similar, because frame 2 is placed with respect to 1 in a similar way, the way frame 1 is placed with respect to 0. You recall this figure, is it not? Frame 2 is placed with respect to frame 1 in a similar manner as frame 1 is placed with respect to frame 0. Okay, so that is why you got exactly the same when you substitute this value to this equation. Okay, you'll get exactly a similar matrix, that is A21. A21. Okay, now you'll see the end effector point and you will appreciate the thing. So taking product, that means first transformation and the second transformation, when they are multiplied, it gives you the end effector location with respect to the ground frame. Okay, so that is what is expected. Now you see what you got by taking product of these two matrices. Okay, what you got, it is a1 cos theta 1, a2 cos theta 1 plus theta 2 as x coordinate of the end effector x2 frame. Okay, with respect to ground. Okay, similarly y2 frame with respect to ground is a1 sin theta 1 plus a2 sin theta 1 plus theta 2, and total rotation is about ground frame by angle theta 1 plus theta 2. Cos minus sin cos, that is rotation about z axis by an angle theta 1 plus theta 2. Okay, so you see whether this is actually there or not. I'll just come back to my original robot and we'll try to derive it now. Okay, so let me come to this and try to derive it trigonometrically. Okay, I'll try to derive it trigonometrically, not using matrices. So this point location, what should be this one? If this is a2, this is a1, so this distance is a1 cos theta 1. Okay, this is, if this is theta 2 with respect to 1, so with respect to ground it is theta 1 plus theta 2, right? So this distance will be a2 cos theta 1 plus theta 2, is it not? It will be theta 1 plus theta 2, correct? So that is there, a2 cos theta 1 plus theta 2, this is a2 cos theta 1. So total distance will be this plus this, that is a1 cos theta 1 plus a2 cos theta 1 plus theta 2. So that is the point of point B x coordinate. Similarly, y coordinates will be a1 sin theta 1 plus a2 sin theta 1 plus theta 2. So B coordinate y2 with respect to 0 and x2 with respect to 0 should be exactly the one that has come up now after matrix multiplication. In this case, we can derive it directly using trigonometrical relation also. So this is what you can see, it has come here. Okay, it has come here. So this gives you the end effector position. Okay. Now just check, just verify if this 3 cross 3 matrix, if this 3 cross 3 matrix gives you the orientation of end effector or not. What this says, if you remember your rotation matrix, if this is 1, this is 0 and this is 0, that means it is rotation with respect to z axis by an angle cos minus sine, sine cos, that is theta 1 plus theta 2, right? So this is the rotation angle by an angle measured about z axis. Got it? So that is what is happening. You can just check your figure once again. Your end effector frame x2 y2 has rotated by an angle theta 1 and theta 2. Okay, theta 1 plus theta 2. Got it? About what? About z0. Okay, so exactly you got what you wanted. Okay, you know now using ds parameters that we did here, we used this equation, we multiplied them together, and what we got the end effector position. Okay, position here and orientation in this. Okay, so this is what is given by a dh parameter table. Okay, then that is why this is known as forward kinematics. It uses link structure. That means over here it is using the link length and the variable link variables, that is joint angles theta 1 and theta 2, to give you end effector position and orientation. Got it? So far it is quite clear, right? Very good. So we'll just, yes, yes, definitely you will get. You just try it out. You, whenever you get this symbolic results, you try with some known result. Let me try what I should get. If I put 0 0, both the angles 0, put 0 over here. Yes, so what you are getting? X axis as a1 plus a2 you are getting. Y axis you will get 0. Z axis 0. That means it is lying flat to the ground. Okay, both the angles are 0. So x axis becomes sum of these two. So that is where your end effector will lie. Okay, now you need not to get that way. Okay, every time you keep on revising your earlier things, now it will be very difficult to move ahead. Okay, do the way you were doing it, degrees of freedom evaluation, you can do it here. Yes, this equation has two variables. Yes, you can see that. Only two variables to fully define your link. Only two variables, theta 1 and theta 2. That means this equation becomes a constant if you fix theta 1 and theta 2. You know now this is a 2 degrees of freedom system. Is it not? So just by looking at the variables and counting the number of variables, which makes this forward kinematic equation a constant, will give you degrees of freedom. Yes, it can give you, but need not to revise that way again. It is nicely pointed out. Yes, just count the number of variables. If this becomes constant, if you put those constants, so yes, it is degrees of freedom. Okay, now let me put 90 degrees. What happens? Okay, what I'll do, I'll simply put uh, 0, no, 90 degree for this and 0 degree for this. What it should do? It should make this robot like this. So A1 and A2 will come like this. So you should get what? Y coordinate. Y coordinate as A1 plus A2. X coordinate as 0. Okay. Let us see if it happens. Yes, robot will be vertical and links will be collinear. Yes, quite nicely visualized. So let us see if it happens by putting this value 90 degree and 0 degree. You can verify that by putting those values to this forward kinematic equation, if it is happening. So you just put theta 1 as 90 degree. So it will become A1 This also 90 degree A2. This is 0 degrees. Theta 2 is 0 degrees. So you are getting cos 0 degree. Okay, so 90 degree for cos 90 degree, this will be 0 degree. 0, total 0. So x coordinate you got as 0. Now check if you are getting y coordinate as a1 plus a2 or not. So if you put 90 degree here, this becomes a1. You put 90 and 0 here, this becomes a2. That means y coordinate is a1 plus a2. So you got it. So this is your way of understanding it. Okay. You can also check the orientation. Okay, you can also check the orientation whether it is happening or not. Okay, so that we can do in a next example that I am going to get. Okay, so let us move ahead now with little higher degrees of freedom. Okay, this is a 3 degrees of freedom cylindrical robot. What all things that it should have? First thing is a revolute joint, a revolute joint. Okay, next is a prismatic joint that extends this height, okay, extends or retracts this height of this point O2. And then there is a joint over here that changes the length of D3 to change the radius of the cylinder. Okay, overall this will have a cylindrical workspace. Okay, this robot starts with here. It has a revolute joint, so it can go anywhere in this cylindrical workspace. It can adjust to any height on this cylinder. It can adjust to any height, and it can change the radius. So changing the height, changing the radius, okay, and revolving all around creates a cylindrical workspace for this type of robot. So this is a cylindrical robot. So given this type of robot, now I just want to find out what are the DH parameters, and we'll try to do the place the frames first. How the frames are to be placed. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, so first frame, it is a ground frame that is always fixed to the ground. This is a three-dimensional robot. This is not a planar robot, mind it. Okay, so this is, I have just placed a vertical axis as Z0. Why? Because this becomes the axis of rotation for my first link. Is it? Okay. I don't think so. So just check if I am okay. Am I audible? Just a sec. Okay, now fine. Okay. So we'll move ahead. We'll see. Uh, we'll go back to our. No, it is not helical, because in helical what happens? If you rotate, you are bound to lift up or down. Okay, but over here you can independently change the height, and you can independently adjust the radius. You can independently adjust everything. In case of helical, if you rotate, you have to come up also, is it not? But in this case it is not. Okay, yes, it can create a helix. This O3 can go in a helix, but it can also go in a circle. It can do multiple things. It is a three-dimensional robot, so it can create any trajectory in space. It can go anywhere in this cylinder, this workspace. It can go anywhere. It can be helix, it can be spiral, it can be Archimedes spiral, it can be Lissajous, anything. Okay, so it can go anywhere in this space. Okay, So that is what is the meaning of cylindrical robot. Okay. So yes. So move. Can I move ahead? Okay, fine. So okay, now let us move ahead. So this is your Z0 that I have conveniently placed perpendicular to the ground. Ground, you have two axes. First is X0, next is Y0, and perpendicular to the ground because first link rotates perpendicular to the ground. It is mounted on the ground just like your any object which is kept on the ground, and it can rotate like this. Okay, so you can rotate like this. So it is Z axis. Okay, now your second axis Z1 is placed again in same direction. Why? Because Z1 is the axis of motion. It is a telescopic joint. It is a telescopic joint that can go up and down. That can go up and down, right? So that becomes your axis of motion. So it is Z1. So that is moving your second link. Moving your second and the third link which are placed. Okay, frames which are placed. Okay, so you have Z0, that is the rotation axis for link 1, Z1, that is the prismatic axis for link 2, Z2. Z2 is in this direction. Why? This changes the radius. You can extrude it or retract it in this direction, horizontal to the floor direction. Okay, parallel to the floor. Okay, horizontal direction. So Z2 is in this direction. Now let us place the x-axis. No y-axis will put. As per DS frame, x is defined. So I'll try to put all the x-axis now so that I can find out the twist angle. So that I can find out the twist angle easily. So I have just wiped them all. Okay. So now coming to this. So x-axis is a common normal to Z0 and Z1. And what is that? That is x1. X1 is common normal to Z0 and Z1. If both are collocated, if there is some distance between them, how would you have placed x-axis? Same way you have to place it. Even if they are overlapping, x becomes perpendicular to z. And now it is Z0 and Z1 simultaneously. Your x will be placed like this, and it will be placed at the point where your second link starts. So this is your link 2, this is your link 1. Okay, so link 1 ends with the frame 1. Z1 is the point where your prismatic axis lies. X1 is a common normal between Z0 and Z1. So X1 and Z1 is placed. So Y1 has to be mutually perpendicular to both of them. It has to be it has to be perpendicular to both X1 and Z1 in a right-handed coordinate system. Okay, done. Okay, now moving ahead. So how I'll put the next x1, x2, sorry, x2. This is now common normal to z1 and z2. See how your z1 is there. So this is your z1, this is your z1, this is your z2. A common normal is x2. So x2 will be directed like this. It can be opposite direction also. It can be on the other side of this plane also. There should not be any difference. Okay, conveniently you can place it anywhere you feel like. I placed it in this way because this was like this. I placed it in a similar manner so that it becomes convenient for me to locate my angles, twist angles. Okay, so now let us put the last frame. Last frame can be placed just exactly similar to your x2 axis. Okay, because there is no rotation or prismatic axis over here at the third frame. Okay, so it is just replica of the second frame, just displaced by a distance given by distance d3. Now why these are d's? Why these are offset? Because these are distance measured along z-axis. This is distance measured along z-axis. So that is why they are offset. They are not link lengths. Link length is the distance measured between z-axis. So over here, all the link lengths will be zero, but they will be reflected as an offset between two different links, physical links. They are physical links, but yes, they don't have length, they have offset. Okay, that has the similar meaning, physical meaning, but yes, they are named as offset in terms of ds parameters. Okay, now let us put, now that we know the frames, we can draw this table. This is exactly the steps how we did it. So this is your first frame, second frame and third frame that are placed on the link 1. So let us see link 1 first. AI is 0. Link length is 0 because there is no distance between Z0 and Z1. They are overlapping one over the other. Okay. Now, twist. Twist is angle between two Z axes. Again, both are parallel to each other. So this also is 0. DI, D1. This is offset. Offset is what? It is distance measured along z-axis between two x-axis. D1 is distance measured between two x-axis along z0. So that is offset. So it comes over here. What is variable? Variable is theta 1. So all star marks are joint variables. Okay, that is the variable because this is revolute joint. Theta is variable. Now coming to the next link. I will wipe this off. Coming to the next link. How this ds is placed? You see, AI is 0 again. What is AI? AI is the link length. You see whether that is 0 or not. Distance measured between Z1 and Z2. Okay, both are crossing each other. They are passing through the same point, Z1 and Z2. So there is no distance between these two. Distance between two Z axes are 0. So link length is 0. Okay. What is alpha I? Alpha I is the angle measured when it is rotated by about x-axis. Okay. You see how they are rotated. Okay. We'll just see. Let us see how it comes. Z0 becomes Z2. Oh, sorry. Z1 becomes Z2. That is rotation about this. Rotation about this. Okay. And how, in which direction it is rotated? It is rotated in a counterclockwise direction. Sorry. In a clockwise direction. So it is negative by an angle 90 degrees. Z1 comes to Z2, rotates by an angle 90 degrees. So that is the twist angle. It is angle measured about x-axis. It is angle measured about x-axis. So this is twist and it is equal to minus 90 degree over here. Minus because of right-handed coordinates. Okay, right hand thumb rule, it has rotated in opposite direction. So it is 90 minus. You see angle between Z1 and Z2 is 90 degree. Okay, so that is what is twist. Twist is angle measured about x-axis between two z-axis. So that was the definition and that is what is making alpha 90 degree over here. What is the variable? D2 is variable, displacement D2. This is a prismatic joint which is changing the point 2. Frame 2 location is changed with respect to frame 1 location by distance which is given by D2 and that is variable. This is a type of prismatic joint. So D2 is variable and there is no angle, so it is always equal to 0. Now coming to frame 3. Frame 3, it is exact replica of frame 2. Frame, okay, let me wipe off a bit so that it becomes quite clear. Okay, so now coming to this, how this frame is placed. This frame is exact replica of this frame. Okay, there is no distance between Z2 and Z3 that makes link length equal to 0. There is no angle between Z2 and Z3 that makes twist equal to 0. But along Z2, point 3 is changed by a distance given by D3. It can either go out or in, radius can change. So D3 is the only variable, joint variable that comes here. Clear? So this is how you have to place. It is not that trivial. You have to practice, practice and practice. How to place frames, how to write DS parameter table. Once that is done, everything is done. Forward kinematics is done. Rest is you just have to put this value to your old link transformation matrix. That is what I'll do now. So these are theta 1 is joint variable because this is revolute joint. In case of revolute joint, it is a motor. It is a motor which can rotate. Okay. So that is the only variable that rotates your link. Okay. It rotates your link which is fitted. Got it? If it is a bottle fitted at the ground with a motor, this bottle can rotate. Okay. So this is joint variable. But if it is a telescopic joint, it can get one into the other, just like a plunger and a barrel. Okay? Yes, drawer type. So this is your joint variable. It cannot rotate. Your drawer cannot rotate. Right? So it is like a drawer. It is first drawer. This is second drawer. Opening of both of them is different. So this is like a cap which can rotate. This is like a drawer which can extend. So you have one cap and two drawers. Got it? Very good. So now you find out a very good analogy, physical analogy to assume this prismatic joint. Okay, it's like a drawer. Okay, there are two drawers. Okay, so this is your joint variable. Now that I know my DS parameter table, yes, please. Yes, yes, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Alpha is the link twist. Link twist, as I have said, it is two z axis placed at the ends of a link. If link is twisted, can you get me? Can you see me? Yes, you can see the slide, but I hope you can see me also. Okay, so this is the angle. Okay, if link is twisted, there will be some angle between z's. So how much is the angle between z over here? Okay, so z1. So I'll just draw once again z1 and z2. What is the angle between them? It has rotated by an angle 90 degree. By how much? 90 degrees. Okay. About x2. About x2. You are talking about frame 2. Okay. So it has rotated by an angle. Okay. Measured about x-axis by an angle 90 degree. In which direction? It is rotated in a clockwise direction. If you take your thumb rule, this direction is always positive. If you go opposite, it is negative. Okay, so that is why rotating it this way makes it 90, and that is negative sign because it has not rotated in a standard manner about this. Okay, so that is why it is 90. I hope you have got it. Very good. Okay, so now we'll do nothing. We'll simply just put this parameter to your standard forward link kinematic transformation, and I'll get three different matrices. Three different matrices. Okay. So if I substitute these, I'll simply get this. A1, A2 and A3. Forget A1 is always with respect to 0, 2 is always with respect to 1, 3 is always with respect to 2. So you can simply say A1, A2 and A3. So there are three link transformation matrix. If you take the product, you get this. If you take the product, you get this. So see what all things it gives. So Z is always D1 plus D2. First thing that you can verify, Z of this point, end effector point, is always equal to D1 plus D2. So this is the distance. This is the distance. So these two distances, if you sum this, this becomes the Z coordinate of this. Okay. Now let us see others are also correct or not. Let us see what will be the X coordinate of this. X coordinate. X is in this direction. X is in this direction. If theta rotates by positive angle, it goes to negative x-axis. So it has to be negative first of all. Then theta 1 is the only variable that changes the location of this. Okay, and there is d3. So d3 is the distance which is from here to here. Okay, theta 1 is the angle. So if you look from the top, this is your x0, this is your y0, this is your d3, this is your positive theta 1. So this is your x coordinate. So okay, now that I am audible, I think I can continue. Okay, so coming back to my slide, so what you see, um, your when you see this robot from the top, this is your D3, this is your D3. If you see from the top, this is your y0 axis, this is your x0 axis. So how much is the coordinate x? It should be negative. If theta is positive, it is negative. D3, okay, cos of theta 1. That should be your x axis. Oh, sorry. Cos will be y axis. Cos will be y axis. It should be sine of theta 1. It should be sine of theta 1. It should be sine of theta 1. So how much is y? It is d3 cos of theta 1. So x coordinate, y coordinate depends only on d3 and theta 1. Okay. Whereas z coordinate depends on d1 and d2 only. This is d1 and d2 only. So that is what is reflected in end effector frame. So this is d3 sine theta 1. Precisely, I just write sine theta 1 as s1. If it is sine theta 1 plus theta 2, I'll write it as s1 2. Okay. Similarly, cos, if it is cos theta 1, cos theta 1 plus theta 2, I'll write theta 1 2. If it is cos theta 2, it is cos theta 2, like this. So this is a compact way of representing trigonometrical symbols in these equations, so as to make it very compact and look elegant also. Okay, so that is what I'll be following from now and on. Okay, so just remember this. So this is your end effector position. This three. This is your z, this is your cosine, this is your sine A with a negative sign. This is how we can derive trigonometrically also. Now I'll come to the orientation part of it. Okay. So what is this? This is projection of UVW frame on XYZ frame. Projection of u along xyz, projection of v along xyz, projection of w along xyz. Let us see if it is happening or not. With this I'll end, don't worry. This is the last thing that should be covered. So projection of x3, y3, z3, this is the local frame. So projection of u along x, okay, along x. In this case, u along x will depend on theta 1, theta 1. Y3 is always directed downwards, and that is along z direction. So v along xyz is very easy to understand. Let me wipe everything else so that you can get a very clear picture of UVW along XYZ. Okay, what do I mean by that? Okay, this is very important to understand and verify your results once you get the forward kinematic result. Okay, so let me come to this. This is your local U, this is V, this is W. Okay, so you see, if you just see V along X will always be 0. V along Y will always be 0. V is unit vector that is directed always along negative of Z axis. So it is -1. So projection of V along X, V along Y, V along Z is like this. Okay, done. Now check the projection of U, or let us say projection of W. Okay, for a positive value of theta. So projection of W along X will be, this is a unit vector. If you see from the top, this is your X axis, this is your Y axis. Let me erase a bit. This is your X axis, this is your Y axis, this is your, if you take this as W, so W along X, if this is theta, this is unit matrix. W along X, so it will be 1 sine theta and in negative direction. So it will be, if you take W, it is minus of sine theta 1. It is theta 1. Okay. W along Z, it will be always equal to 0. Because this cannot come to a frame which is along Z axis. Okay. This can never come vertically like this. Okay. If it rotates in this plane, it has to remain in this plane. Okay, so that is not possible, so I have excluded that, so it is equal to 0. Now coming back to this W, so W along Y will be 1 cosine theta, so cos theta 1. The projection of W along Y is C1, so it is C1. Similarly you can find U. Okay, similarly you can find U. Can anyone do this? I'll do it, you just tell me. You see, if you look this from top, if you look this robot from the top, how is it appearing? This W, if this is your W axis, so initially Y0 was here, so this is your Y0. This is here, so this is your X axis, this is the 0 frame. So W frame rotates along with the robot end effector. So that has to make this angle. This W rotates along with your robot end. So this is your theta 1. That is why it is drawn like this. Got it? Yes, that is why. I'll show you. You see what happens. How much is this distance for positive value of theta 1? If this is 1, this is S1 sine theta 1. but in which direction it is. If this is positive, this is negative. So that is why this is negative. Got it? If theta 1 is positive, if it is growing like this, it is growing along negative axis. Okay, that is why this comes along negative of x-axis. It will be more apparent when I'll show a physical robot also. Okay, maybe through some simulator I'll show you. Last class we'll have that also. Okay, so let me finish this one. So it physically it is this, it is the meaning of having any coordinate frame projected onto a base frame. Okay, so you project UVW to XYZ frame. So U projection of U along X along Y and along Z. So that will come here. Projection of V along XYZ, W along XYZ. Okay, so that is what. So I think this should be quite good enough at this stage. We'll show with more example. We'll come up to this at every instant after every example that we'll do. Okay, so orientation of UVW, you do nothing. You forget robot. You just take a frame with a frame and then you just check. You try without asking me. You try doing that. Okay, you try doing that at home. Okay, without asking any further. Why I want you to do it? Because anyhow, if I you have to realize yourself. It has to come within you. Okay, you cannot. I cannot make things so apparent without a physical model. But yes, I tried my best. Now you will do it, and in next class we'll definitely come back to this and we'll practice once again. Okay. Uh, yes, you are not audible that much. Minus. Why it is minus? Why D3? See, D3 is there. D3 is along this axis, W axis. Why it has to come along U? This is local frame which is not changing. But this frame with respect to this frame, base frame is changing. UVW, if you look from the top, if this is X, this is Y, you see it once again. This is X0, this is Y0. Okay. Now if I look from the top, this is your W and this is your U, and both are changing by an angle theta 1. Okay, so this is your U, this is your W. Is it correct? Now you just guess why it is like this, why it is like this. See, if you check this is theta 1. So projection of U along X axis, how much it will be? U cos theta 1. So U is 1, so it is C1. Projection of U along Y, it is S1. Projection of U along Z will be 0. Got it? Very simple. Similarly, projection of W along X will be, if this is there, it is minus of S1. Is it not? And projection of W along Y is C1. Got it? So it is there. Okay. So that is the reason it is like this. So projection of W along X, W along Y, W along Z. So those things are visible here. I think it has to come here. Okay. So anyway, so now I hope you have understood this. Please do it of your own. What does this mean physically, that you will understand one by one. So these are those. Projection of U along X, U along Y, U along Z. Projection of W, W, W. VVV. So those were directly put here. This represents the frame orientation with the base frame. This represents the position of the end effector with respect to the base frame. So that is the physical meaning of transformation matrix. Once you will grasp this, you have grasped almost everything. Once you can put the frames properly in this robot, you can put this frame. You will be given a bare robot without any frame. You have to put these frames, okay, and then you will have to draw this parameter table, okay, this table you will have to make it. Once you are done, you just substitute the values, you get these forward kinematic transformation matrices for individual links. Take the product, you get the forward kinematics of the robot. That gives you position and orientation of the robot. Got it? So this is what. So next class we'll do spherical wrist, and this is not that trivial. Again, you have to get into it. So I would suggest, please go through this slide and the video so that you understand it, practice it. Otherwise, I am sure you are not going to understand it in just single day. Okay, so I would suggest just go by yourself, thoroughly visit this video once again every time you are not getting it, and come back to me, come back to this once again, okay, and then only you can do it. Once you are done, you are the number one in robotics. Okay, 90% of industrial robot works with forward kinematics only. Okay, forward kinematics, it is able to know where it is. Okay, then comes inverse kinematics. Okay, that is another trigonometrical thing that we'll be doing, trigonometrical algebraic thing. Again, prerequisite, you see, it is not much. It is again exactly the same as your intermediate class 12 or K12 standard. So no prerequisite, nothing. You just have to go through it. Okay. Okay, that's all for today. I think that should be enough. I'm stopping it here. Thanks a lot.